Originally, I started when I was young. I used to watch the cartoons mainly about fantasy sort of genres, and that sort of sparked my interest. And from there, I begged my parents to get me my first set, and growing up, it just stuck with me as a hobby.
I've always been in and around the scene, like on YouTube and such, but, since moving to uni and find a lot of, especially creatives, I suppose, a lot of, like-minded people, really.
Most of it would kind of go back to like watching stuff on YouTube and kind of like seeing all that for the first time. I think it might have been a lot of Critical Role stuff because that kind of like really engaged me when like, this is really cool, this is like really fascinating stuff, and I really wanted to get into it.
Before I played any, I definitely watched a lot of like Dungeons and Dragons content, like Dimension 20 and all that sort of things. And then, I think one of my friends was just like, I want to do a campaign, and then we did it,
I played a bit as like a teen, and obviously everyone's had the one like nightmare Dungeons and Dragons experience that kind of put you off for a few years. But then, like by total coincidence, looking for like an online group, managed to find like the dream group of people, which I've been playing with now for I think almost 3 years, every week, now twice a week. So I feel like I've hit a jackpot there.
As a person that really struggles with anxiety, I can find it really hard. The autism doesn't help either, but I can find it really hard to connect with people on stuff. So if I know that we're interested in let's say the same movie, I'm like, I like that movie. So I get really excited then because I have a talking point with that person. So for me, D&D opened up a massive community of people that I could connect to and begin to talk to, just to be I'm a massive nerd.
It's made me feel a lot more, not more sociable, because I think I am quite outgoing to begin with, but it's made me feel like that the people I'm with are very close people that I can talk to and trust and just respect as people.
Before I started playing D&D, I was barely as confident as I was, and I think being in an environment with people who are so confident and unafraid to be themselves and just be silly and be stupid without being judged, basically, really helps bring out the best elements of yourself.
It provides an opportunity to, spend time with my friends. You can't always guarantee with how busy people are that you'll always get to see them in a one-on-one hangout or such, as you would back in the good old days, I suppose. But it's just next opportunity. We'll all clear our schedule and we're all this day we're doing D&D, and we'll just get a social event where, again, we're all united towards one goal or something. It is lovely.
Tabletop games do offer up an opportunity for me to see a lot of friends who I don't see often. Specifically, a couple of my friends from uni, my friend George, namely. I don't see him often outside. Sounds like he's a hermit. I don't see him often, but when we play Dungeons and Dragons together, then I see him for 6 hours, and it's a good catch up, and it's a good time to just sort of get together and just have a little bit of a laugh together, just like the good old days, I guess.
So I'm Simon Kendrick, and I'm the owner of the Gamers Emporium. So I play a bit of everything. So at the moment I'm playing the Star Wars Edge role-playing game, Magic the Gathering with my son, Dungeons and Dragons with my son and my daughter, Warhammer with my friends when we can find the time, and whatever else comes to hand. So I started out with board games as a kid, and then Dungeons and Dragons at about age 11. So a friend of mine had the Red Box Basic set, and I very quickly got there, and we had a little game shop in Portsmouth where I'm from originally, and they used to stock all the things, and I ended up running a game for my friends at school, which we played from end of primary school all the way through till sixth form. We were at school, we were the nerdy kids, but not necessarily the bullied kids. We were the ignored nerds. So it gave us a nice sort of safe social space. We would meet at lunchtime together. If we didn't fancy going out and playing football, there'd be four of us sat around the table playing Dungeons and Dragons. So it was a good social inclusion, and those people now are still my friends sort of 30, 40 years later. So you build lifelong friendships through it. So it's that sense of community, that sense of belonging is a real powerful reinforcer. And even if you've had a bad day, if your mate's like, should we get a game on? You'll drag yourself out for it usually.
I mean, I've talked to my therapist numerous times about how D&D provides such stability to my life. Like how every week, like once or twice, you know what I mean, depending, I get something to look forward to.
Like, you wouldn't think that, like, putting myself in a stressful situation would help me to stop being stressed about my day-to-day life. But, like, I could have, like, a really stressful week, and at the end of it, I'm like, I get to be in a dungeon this weekend.
It lets you be in a world that's much more interesting than the real world, I guess. But it also, like, sometimes it even helps, like, to explore things you've been through or experiences, but in a fictional way.
Obviously, there's the escapism element of it, where like you get to pretend that you're someone else, you get to play as someone else. But it also kind of just lets you kind of like it's the same thing of any kind of story, really. It lets you address some of the things that are going on in your life, or just kind of serves to give it a bit more meaning and lets you put those aspects of yourself into something else and into something that's maybe a bit easier to understand than just a lot of raw emotions.
I think, like, even if it wasn't D&D, but like especially because it's D&D, having a group of people every week that you can kind of, like, you have that in the schedule and you can show up to sessions, kind of forget what's going on in real life, but also kind of process what's going on in real life through your characters instead of just doing it like in real life terms where it's a bit more intimidating. You can like have all these character arcs and experiment with things you'd be more afraid to talk about or experiment with in person, not through a character. But it's a very good avenue for everything, for mental health, for like friendships, and just to have a group of people where you can come together, have a nice time every week without being judged.